Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Stifling Dark by Sophisticated Cerberus.
Stifling Dark is a game that is coming to Kickstarter here in the near future, so make sure to check out the link down below in the description of this video after you've watched our preview video. And we were able to do a 3-player playthrough on this game, and if you want to check that out, you can click the eye in the top right corner and it will take you to that video. But this is a one against many hidden movement horror themed game in which one player is going to play as the adversary, a serial killer of sorts who is lurking in the shadows waiting for you to get in his line of sight so that he can stalk you and attack you, while the other players play as investigators that are trying to check out the paranormal activity that's going on in this area, trying to collect enough evidence to prove that it is true that there is someone lurking about the campground. I'll show you how this game works down below, and then we'll come back and share thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer. All right, here's the Stifling Dark on the table. Let me show you guys how this hidden movement one against many game is going to work. And before I get into this, I want you to know that everything you see in this portion of the video is prototype. The final artwork and components may look different after it is released from production, as well as some of the rules. But here we go. Let me show you guys this big old board here, in which there are going to be lots of circles with numbers and lines. And these are all spots that you can be at on the board throughout the course of the game. And not only you, but also the butcher, or the adversary in this case, and they will be playing behind a screen, and you will not be able to see what they are doing on their board. But in this game, you are going to play as an investigator, such as Brielle Easton, or perhaps Mitchell Carter, Asher Paliasos, Key Christensen, Amelia Webb, Ibrahim Hess, Clara Dunkley, or Vincent Campbell. There are a lot of characters to play as in this game, and I'll let you check the Kickstarter campaign to look at all of the minor and major abilities on these characters, but you can see that they each have their own special abilities, and on the back of these player boards, it tells you their play style as well as some flavor text here. And what you're going to have on your player board, you are going to have a major ability token, which will keep track of whether or not you've done your major ability. You will have a flashlight tracker. You will have a speed tracker, which will tell you how far you can move on your turn. And you will have a stamina tracker, which will let you know how many times you can sprint before you start taking wounds. And you can see here that each player can hold 4 wounds before they perish. Now, this game is very simple. You are going to place your character on one of these green circles at the beginning of the game, and what you are trying to do is you're trying to investigate the sawmill here, going to these different buildings on the board and hopefully find evidence that has been hidden out somewhere on the board. Now, your actions that you're able to do are very simple. You can move and sprint after moving. You can interact with many things on the board, and you can use your flashlight. So moving is very simple. Again, you are just going to move however many spaces you are allowed to do so, as denoted by your speed icon, and you have to follow the lines. So in this case, I can move 4. Now, these circles that have solid white lines around them, they are normal spaces. It's dark, but you are able to move through them. The circles that are inside of buildings are going to be pitch black. They have these dotted white lines, and it's going to require 2 points of movement to be able to move through these spaces. The red ones tell you where the adversary might be starting the game. They can start within so many spaces of these red circles, and so there's several of them out on the board, so you're not exactly sure where the adversary is starting the game. Now, at the end of a turn, I mentioned the flashlight. You have a flashlight that you are able to use, and you're going to have this acrylic piece here that has some lines on it, and you are going to attach that to your base, like so. And you're going to shine this over certain spots on the board, and as long as one of the white lines passes
through one of the circles, and that circle is fully within the yellow flashlight, and the white line is not broken up by, say, a truck or a box or something, then you are able to see what is in that circle. So, for instance, in this case right here, I've got my flashlight positioned to show me 200, 185, 199, 184, 170, 171, 183 even. And if anything were in those spots, say maybe we have an item, which would be like one of these little boxes right here, then the adversary, who knows where everything is at on the board, he would put that in the spot where maybe that was at, and you just revealed that. Or if you're very lucky, then maybe you revealed the butcher himself. And when you do that, that's very good because the butcher is very weak whenever he is revealed. He does not want to be revealed. He wants to stay hidden. And so that using your flashlight is a very good thing, obviously. However, it is going to lower your flashlight charge. And when it gets to 0, you are not able to do it. If you do not use your flashlight, you can recharge it. Now, we have a stamina tracker here, and I mentioned that you can sprint in the game. After you have done your movement, you are able to sprint if you so choose to do so, rolling this die and moving that many extra spaces. But again, you have to lower your stamina tracker, and if you've sprinted too many times, you might take a wound. If you do not sprint on your turn, you can raise this back up one. Ultimately, what the investigators are trying to do, they're trying to find evidence that proves that the butcher is real. And evidence is going to be found in the buildings. The player who plays as the adversary will be hiding them behind their screen, and once you discover them, they'll put them out on the board wherever they're at, and you can pick them up. And when you do so, that is going to allow you to move on to the next phase of the game, in which you will choose one of the 3 options to complete, such as maybe repair the truck so that you can escape, or fix the gate so that you can escape, or take on the adversary and try to kill him. Anyhow, whatever mission you end up choosing, that is for you to try to accomplish, and that is how you play the game as the good guys, the investigators. Let me show you next how to play it as the butcher. All right, so here's what the butcher may be looking at as they are playing the game. They're going to have their own mini-map behind their screen that shows where they've hidden different items, as well as the very valuable evidence that they need to try to protect from the investigators. And also, it's going to hold their player piece on this particular map when they're hidden. Now, when they get revealed, they're going to have to move their character out on the main board, but you will do your moving around here on this board for the most part. Your actions are very similar to what the investigators do. You can move 5 spaces, rolling the sprint die for extra movement, and you don't have to lower your sprint down because you're the adversary and you can sprint all night long. You can break down doors. There will be door tokens out on the board, on the main board, wherever there are these blue circles. The adversary is not able to open them quietly. He has to break them down, and that will reveal his presence on the board, giving a clue to the investigators. Whenever he is revealed with a flashlight, or when they find other light sources to reveal him on the map, then he can only disappear on his turn, and he has to get out of sight from the other characters. And there is a special token that is put on the board to denote where he was last seen on the board whenever he is revealed. But what he is really ultimately trying to do is he is trying to stalk the investigators, and he needs to be within 8 spaces having line of sight to 1 or more investigators. And when he's able to do this, he gets to give them a special condition card called Spine Chill. Now, Spine Chill is not really going to do much of anything the first time you give it to someone, but the second time that you're able to do so, and if you do it in consecutive turns, then you are going to gain stalk. And stalk is going to be what allows you to do attacks to the investigators. So you need to stay close to them without getting revealed and do it in multiple turns in a row so that you are able to ultimately attack them and give them other conditions such as bleeding, which is really how you do your damage in this game as the butcher, the adversary. And that's pretty much the gist of the game. There are going to be 17 turns, and if the investigators are not able to accomplish their objective before 17 turns, then they will lose the game, and the adversary wins the game if he is able to kill any one of the other players, the investigators. Otherwise, you're going to have events throughout the course of the game, and item cards that you can pick up, cursed item cards, conditions, mitigation cards, which will affect your wounds, and so on and so forth. And that is the gist of it. That is how you play the Stifling Dark. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this.
And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on the Stifling Dark from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. So Sam, this is a hidden movement kind of game, and that's a mechanic that we've not really been able to show too much on our channel. You as a non-gamer, what's your opinion on hidden movement?
It's not my favorite. It's not my, and that's not whether it's better for gamers or non-gamers. It's just me personally. That's not my favorite type of mechanic in a game.
Okay, all right. And I mean, I can tell the folks at home, but if you've watched any of our videos, you're not huge on horror. You're not huge on big themey games that
great
are
fit for us.
that are oftentimes referred to as Ameritrash type games. But what did you think about the Stifling Dark?
I mean, it definitely out on the table, it looks like a lot. It's a little overwhelming, especially when you see all the numbers and before you know anything about the game. It's what am I trying to do here? But once we started playing, it's really not a difficult game.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you are a gamer that has someone in your life that likes kind of mystery or haunted, spooky things, and this might be a really good fit. It's not difficult to play. I think the flashlight aspect of it was really interesting.
Yeah.
I've played a couple hidden movement games, and that's the first time I've seen anything quite like that.
Yeah.
So it has some cool little details to it, and it looks overwhelming, but in general, it's a pretty straightforward game.
Yeah, one of the things about this game is that really the most complex part of the game that I found was setting up the board and getting the board ready for what you're about to be playing, because it progresses in steps. The investigators need to find evidence, and after they've found evidence, then they get to choose a path that they're taking, a mission that they're trying to take on, and then that changes some of the setup as well. And so beyond that, actually playing the game was really pretty straightforward. And there's not a whole lot of having to stop and look at the rule book and trying to figure out, okay, what do we do in this situation? It's pretty elegant design. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, and it's a breeze to play, which when I'm playing a thematic game, a super thematic game, the last thing that I want to do is have to press the pause button to have to reference the rule book or figure out what we're supposed to do next.
Because I do feel like if it was just non-gamers playing it, we would still be doing that. There are a lot of icons and a lot of cards that you use at specific times. But for gamers, I think it's very straightforward, and you just need to kind of pass on that knowledge to the non-gamer.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I think you definitely do want to play this with somebody who is experienced, a board gamer at the table for sure. But being the case, I think it's pretty straightforward once you get into it, and you're not going to have too many times where you're having to stop to figure out what's going to happen next or what you're supposed to do. Highly thematic game. I felt like the entire experience really fit in line with the theme. The hidden mechanic idea is, I mean, made perfect for this type of theme, where you have somebody who's lurking in the shadows, watching you from, behind a bush or whatever, and you get that creepy feeling like somebody's watching you. I mean, you really truly get that in this experience. And that, like Sam said, the flashlight mechanic, I think, was really innovative. Not really ever seen anything like that before. And again, it really just works real well with the theme.
Yeah.
So
I will say too, it is only a 3 to 5 player game.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, that's a little difficult. It's mostly just me and him playing. So you need to know that going into it, that you will need at least 3 people.
For sure. And I do think that our 3-player playthrough, we showed you what it works like as a 3-player game. I do think the game scales pretty well. I do think, however, more players on the table, more people on the map is going to produce a little bit more energy and excitement with the game.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a better time with it playing at the higher player counts, but it's still a good game to play at 3-player count, I believe.
Yeah.
for you, what was the best part of this game?
Rolling the dice on the first roll. Winning the whole game.
So, we don't want to ruin our playthrough video, but if you watch it, you will find that Sam did exactly what she needed to do on the very first try. But no, that was totally a great thing on her part. I enjoyed the getting to choose different paths while the game was unfolding.
You kind of had a say in how you wanted to
proceed.
proceed.
It was a little bit of like a choose your own adventure type game, and that changes dramatically what it is you're trying to accomplish.
It's like it makes sense. Like, you're here, there's a murderer now. What would you do?
What would you do?
I would fix the car and I would leave.
Would you get out of there like any sane person, or would you be the person who's like, no, we're going to take this guy on?
In fact, I fixed the car, left my partner there as well. He had to get himself out.
So, I mean, like you can tell, the way we're talking about this game, it just produces very thematic, immersive experiences, which I think is exactly what they set out to do in creating such a game. And if you're somebody who really enjoys that type of experience, enjoys horror-themed games, you're going to get your money's worth out of this experience. So, well-produced, high-quality. This is just the prototype, too, and what we have here as a prototype, I thought was very well-produced. Looks great out on the table, and I had a great time with it. So. That is the Stifling Dark. It is from Sophisticated Cerberus. It is on Kickstarter, so make sure to check out that link down below now that you've watched our video. And leave us some comments down below. Let us know what you think about this one.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.